Quick question. Did you see the title of this video, The Ideal Response, and get a pit in your stomach? Like you just knew you were about to find out you've been doing this whole parenting thing wrong? Do me a favor. Take a deep breath and then let it out. Now listen, there's no such thing as perfect parents. God shows you fully aware of all your flaws to be your child's parent. In this video, we're not talking about how to become ideal parents. We're going to explore a practical, proven method that can help you reshape your child's behavior and your own response to it. Parenting kids from hard places means facing behavioral challenges many other parents never have to face. Behind every behavior is a need. But figuring out what that need is and how to meet it can be tricky. You need tools that help you get to the heart of these behaviors because your kids aren't giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time. The co-founders of Trust Based Relational Intervention, a trauma-informed parenting model, lay out 5 principles of addressing behaviors. They call it the ideal response. I for immediate, D for direct, E is efficient, A is action-based, and L is leveled at the behavior and not at the child. These 5 principles will not only help you change your child's behaviors, they'll train you to respond to behaviors in a way that actually promotes growth and connection. Trust Based Relational Intervention, or TBRI, is based on the 3 pillars of trauma-informed care. Basically, this method focuses on the fact that a child's most basic needs must be met before they can learn new skills. Those needs are felt safety, connection, and self-regulation. To grow, a child doesn't simply need to be safe. They need to feel safe. Connection with the person trying to teach and help them is also crucial. They need to believe that they can trust someone before following their lead. And finally, they need to have a calm body and brain in order to absorb any new information. This method requires parents to change their view of a child's behavior from that of willful disobedience to survival skills. It's not so much that a child won't obey, but rather that they can't because they're stuck in survival mode. Shifting the way you approach your child's behavior can completely change your relationship with your child. It changed mine. I spent years trying to fix my adopted son. TBRI taught me that my son didn't need fixing. My mindset around parenting him did. The ideal response helps us respond rather than react. Let's dive into its 5 principles. The first principle is I, for immediate. Did you know your response will be most effective within 3 to 5 seconds of the behavior occurring? That's because the immediacy of your reaction creates a direct link in your child's mind between cause and effect. I lost count of the times I failed to catch a behavior before it escalated because I wasn't paying attention to the warning signs. Do you ever ignore the argument in the living room because you're trying to finish loading the dishwasher? At least until a crash, a scream, or a 4-letter word forces you to step in. Christian psychiatrist Kurt Thompson says, pay attention to what you're paying attention to. If you feel that pit in your stomach again, don't worry. I know what it's like to be outnumbered and overwhelmed as a parent. It's not a matter of picking your battles better. It's a matter of picking your battles sooner. Remember, you're the expert on your child. When you're paying attention, you can tell by their tone of voice and body language how they're feeling or likely to react to different triggers. Work on responding as soon as you hear that first sound of frustration or see that first eye roll. By responding immediately, you can give your child a chance to identify and de-escalate behaviors before they result in a meltdown. Next is D, which stands for direct. One thing I underestimated before becoming a parent is how often I'd have to get up from where I'm sitting. When you're juggling tasks or just plain tired, it gets tempted to correct your children from across the room. But how effective is that? Try to be within 3 feet of your children when you respond to them, close enough to touch their shoulder. This will both capture their attention and show them that they have yours. Giving a direct response means being fully present, getting down on their level, and looking them in the eyes. I remember when I first started to put this into practice. I was sitting comfortably in my recliner, working on my computer, when my son came storming into the room. When I asked what was wrong, he started spewing all kinds of disrespectful language at me. In the past, I would have just yelled at him, "Go to your room!" But this time, I closed my computer, got up, and slowly walked over to him. He was too upset to look at me, so I asked him to sit on the couch and let me know when he was ready to talk. I sat down in my chair near him, and he eventually sat too. After about 15 minutes, he said in a calm voice that he was ready to talk. By staying calm, connected, and consistent over time, I helped my son learn how to calm himself and share what was bothering him. These first 2 principles are important to use, not only when your kids misbehave, but when they do well too. You can immediately and directly respond to positive behaviors too, like sharing or deep breathing when they're stressed. This tells them they don't have to use big behaviors to get your attention. Focus on staying connected through thick and thin, not just when you want to correct a behavior. Next, we want to discuss E for efficient. When a child is in crisis mode, the survival part of the brain called the amygdala is activated. The amygdala is the brain's alarm system, and it can get pretty overwhelmed by anything more than basic commands. This is why the fewer words you can use to redirect a child, the better. Using short scripts or life value terms can prevent escalation and keep the focus on the behavior, not the child. This helps to maintain relationship and guides the child towards a more appropriate response. A few terms we often use include use your words, with permission, and let's try that again with respect. One foster family I know had a little boy with a painful habit of biting. Their creative and effective life value term was safe teeth. It worked wonders in the high-intensity moments when he needed a quick, direct reminder. A favorite of mine when my son starts making demands of me or my wife is the phrase, "Are you asking or telling?" Your family can come up with your own life value terms based on your unique needs. Next, we have A for action-based. This is where the term redo comes in. An action-based response replaces an unwanted behavior with a more appropriate one through practice. By offering your child a redo for disobedience or disrespect, you help rewire their brain to form new patterns of behavior. This might look like saying, "Let's try that again with respect," when your child says something rude. A redo promotes learning without shame. One day, my son came into the kitchen and grabbed something right out of my hand. Before TBRI, I would have just snatched it back. But instead, I said, "Let's try that again with permission." He gave the item back to me, asked if he could have it, and waited for me to hand it to him. With time and repetition, these action-based redos allowed new and more appropriate behaviors to slowly replace old habits. Other action-based responses include offering choices or compromises. Choices give your child a sense of control with options that work for you. When you offer a compromise to your child, you're teaching them to solve a problem with another person. Say your child asks to make cookies. You're in the middle of folding laundry and need to finish. But when you tell them not right now, to them, that sounds like no, boom, meltdown. Instead, you might offer them a choice by saying, yes, we can make cookies as soon as I'm done folding. I need about 10 minutes. Would you like to help me so that we can finish faster? Or play in your room until I'm done? You could also offer a compromise. How about we make the cookie dough right now, and then you can help me fold laundry while they bake? These methods of problem solving replace your child's all or nothing mentality, which results in meltdowns, with the ability to find a solution that suits both of you. The last letter is L, for leveled at the behavior and not at the child. In other words, we focus on changing the behavior without getting angry at the child. The heart behind this principle is teamwork. Your child is not the enemy, their dysregulation is. You and your child must become a team to tackle unwanted behaviors together. That means asking yourself, what do they need, instead of what's wrong with them? For younger children, big feelings often result in big behaviors. Your goal is to give them the tools to name and cope with those big feelings. Say your child starts screaming in frustration because you aren't rescuing them from their car seat fast enough. This is your chance to show them a better way to get their needs met. If the enemy is the screaming, you can't react in a big way when they scream. Instead, you want to stay calm while offering a better solution. Tell the child, you can say, I'm mad. And once the child copies your words, you can offer them choices for how to calm themselves. You might want to try clapping, pushing against each other's hands, or blowing out the candle. For older kids, dysregulation often comes out as disrespect. The best remedy for disrespect is to playfully suggest ways to regulate themselves. Try taking a few deep breaths with them, or give them a time in where they can stay close to you for a set amount of time. More than likely, they would also benefit from a snack or some water in these moments. Remember, your child isn't giving you a hard time. They're having a hard time. And by taking a moment to walk with them through their big feelings, you're empowering them to self-regulate with you as their model. In closing, remember that these are 5 principles for responding to your children's actions and behaviors. You don't have to apply them all perfectly all the time to be effective. Work on paying attention to what you're paying attention to. Do your best to respond quickly to your kids and get on their level. Try to make eye contact and help them calm themselves first. Then use simple life value terms, choices, and compromises when giving correction. Allow your children to learn through action-based redos that can change their behaviors. And finally, focus your attention on working as a team. This new method will take time and practice to implement, and no one has ever done it perfectly. But ideally, these tips will help you and your kids connect in a way that leads to lasting change.